Have you ever sat back late at night staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, was she ever really into me? Or did she just see me as a stepping stone? That question burns. It stings because deep down you already know the answer. Maybe you felt it when her eyes lit up at your generosity, but dimmed when you needed support. Maybe you noticed it when she was around for the fun but absent for the struggle. And if you're here right now, it's probably because a part of you fears the truth. She might have been using you. Before we dive into this, let me say this: don't click away too soon, because the next 20 minutes could change the way you approach love and relationships forever. If you've been blind to these signs before, after this video, you won't ever be fooled again. So subscribe to Stoic Glow, hit that like button, and watch this until the very end, because what you'll learn here could be the difference between being drained by a toxic relationship or building one that strengthens your soul. The Stoics believed in one central principle: see things as they are, not as you want them to be. Love often clouds that vision. When you're infatuated, you project your desires onto her, telling yourself she cares, that she's invested, that her coldness is just mood swings. But clarity is power, and once you see the truth without illusions, you can never be trapped again. So let's break down the 6 undeniable signs. She was using you, with the help of Stoic wisdom, to guide your eyes to reality. 1. She only appeared when it benefited her. Have you ever noticed that she only texted you when she was bored, lonely, or needed something? Think carefully. How many times did your phone buzz, and your heart leapt with excitement, only to realize the message wasn't "I miss you" or "How are you?" but instead something like, "Can you do me a favor?" If you're nodding right now, stay with me, because this is where many men get trapped. Love is supposed to be mutual, both of you showing up for each other. But when she only appears when there's something to gain, you're not her partner. You're her backup plan, her emotional crutch, her safety net. Now let me take you into a story you might recognize. Imagine this: you've just come home after a long day at work. You're exhausted, maybe even a little stressed. Your phone is silent all day, no check-in, no thought from her. But then suddenly a message lights up your screen. Your heart skips. You think, finally, she's thinking about me. But when you open it, it's not love, it's need. "Hey, can you drop me off tomorrow?" Or, "Can you lend me something?" Or, "I'm feeling bored, come over." And the worst part? You go, every time, because deep down, you hope that maybe if you keep showing up for her, she'll finally see your worth. But here's the bitter truth: she already knows your worth. And she's not treating it as love. She's treating it as convenience. Let me pause here and ask you, how many times has this happened in your story? How many times have you ignored that sinking feeling, telling yourself at least she's reaching out? The Stoics would tell you this: reality is often less flattering than the dream we create in our heads. We imagine her messages are signs of love, when in fact, they're signs of dependency. She doesn't miss you, she misses what you do for her. And think about your happiest memories in love. Remember those moments when you felt someone truly cared? When they checked on you without asking for anything? When they wanted your company just because you mattered? That's what love feels like. Now compare that to what you experienced with her. Did it feel the same? Or did it always feel like she showed up only when it was useful? I want you to really picture it. Your story isn't unique. Men throughout history, from ordinary workers to Roman emperors, have faced this same deception. And every time, the truth is the same. Love is not about appearances when convenient. It's about presence, even when nothing is to be gained. So if she only appeared when she benefited, she wasn't loving you. She was using you. And the sooner you accept that truth, the sooner you'll stop being her convenience and start being your own master. Your emotions were one-sided. When was the last time she really asked about you? Not what you could do for her, not what you could buy for her, not how quickly you could solve her problems, but you. Your fears, your struggles, your dreams. If you're struggling to remember, that's not an accident. That's a sign. See, when love is real, it flows both ways. It's a balance. You listen to her and she listens to you. You give and she gives back. But if you think back to your relationship and realize the scale was always tipped, you being the listener, the fixer, the comforter, while she was the one constantly taking, that wasn't love. That was a performance. I'll paint you a picture you might recognize. You've had one of the toughest days of your life. Maybe work drained you. Maybe family problems weighed on your mind. Maybe you just needed someone to lean on. You finally get the courage to open up to her, to say, "I'm not okay today." And what does she do? She brushes it off. She changes the topic. Or worse, she finds a way to circle it back to herself. Suddenly, your pain doesn't matter. Her stress, her stories, her needs become the headline again. Sound familiar? This is the trap so many men fall into. We convince ourselves that if we keep listening, if we keep showing up, if we keep carrying her burdens, then eventually she'll do the same for us. But here's the harsh truth. If she wanted to, she already would have. And I want you to think back to your happiest love memories. Remember how it felt when someone truly cared? When they leaned in as you spoke? When they asked questions not because they had to, but because they genuinely wanted to know what was happening inside your heart? That kind of connection is unforgettable. That's what love is supposed to feel like. Now compare it to her. Did you ever feel like your voice mattered? Or did it feel like you were background noise in her world? Only useful when you were nodding along or offering solutions? The Stoics taught that a man must master his emotions, but they never said to erase them. They believed emotions were natural, but they must be shared with the right people, people who value them, people who don't trample on them. So let's be real. If every time you opened up you felt smaller instead of stronger, if your feelings were dismissed, minimized, or ignored, while hers were treated like the center of the universe, then you were never in a partnership. You were in an imbalance. And imbalance in love is not love, it's use. Because in the end, love is about reciprocity. Two hearts meeting in the middle. If you were the only one bleeding your soul out, and she never even bothered to notice, then she wasn't your lover. She was your audience and you were her actor. And the sooner you see that, the sooner you'll understand. You deserve someone who listens, not someone who only hears themselves. 3, she kept you trapped in guilt. How many times did you do something for her? Not because you wanted to, but because you were afraid of how she'd react if you didn't? If you're nodding right now, then you already know what I'm about to say. She wasn't loving you. She was manipulating you. You see, guilt is one of the most powerful chains in relationships. And when a woman uses it to control you, you stop acting out of love and start acting out of fear. Fear of disappointing her. Fear of being labeled as cold. Fear of losing her approval. Think back to your own story. Maybe she said things like, "If you really cared, you'd do this for me. After all I've done for you, you owe me. Other boyfriends don't act like this, why can't you?" Every time she said words like these, didn't you feel that sinking weight in your chest? That little voice whispering, "If I say no, maybe she'll leave me. Maybe I'm not enough." And so you gave in. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. You bought things you couldn't afford. You sacrificed time you didn't have. You broke promises to yourself. All because you were scared of making her unhappy. But here's the cruel truth. Love is never about keeping score. Love doesn't demand proof, it gives freely. The moment she made you feel guilty for not meeting her endless demands, she stopped being a partner and started being a jailer. Let me tell you a story that might sound a little too familiar. A man once wrote to me about how his girlfriend used to say, "After all I've given you, you should be grateful and do this for me." He said at first it made sense. He thought, she's right, relationships are about sacrifice. But then he noticed something. Her sacrifices were small, almost meaningless, while his were heavy and constant. He was draining himself dry to keep her satisfied, while she gave just enough to justify her manipulation. And maybe you've lived this exact story. Maybe you've sacrificed friendships, hobbies, even parts of your own identity just to keep her smiling. And every time you thought about saying no, guilt grabbed you by the throat and pulled you back in. But let me ask you, do you remember the last time she gave to you without expecting something in return? Do you remember her doing something out of pure love, without throwing it back in your face later as evidence that you owe her? If you can't recall that moment, then brother, you already know the truth. The Stoics taught, what is not in your control should not disturb your peace. But guilt is exactly that. It's a disturbance planted inside you by someone else. She knew your kindness. She knew your desire to be a good man, and she weaponized it against you. That's not love. That's a trap. And if she kept you constantly apologizing, constantly paying debts you never truly owed, then understand this. She wasn't building with you, she was feeding on you. The moment you break free from guilt is the moment you reclaim your power. Because love isn't about chains. Love is about freedom. Here, she avoided building a future with you. When you pictured the future with her, did she picture it too? Or did she always dodge, deflect, and change the subject? If you've ever tried to talk about where this is going and she suddenly grew cold, distant or gave you vague answers like, "Let's just see what happens," or "Why worry about the future? Let's live in the moment," then you already know this sign all too well. Think about it. When someone truly loves you, they may not know exactly what tomorrow looks like, but they want you in it. They'll talk about building a life together, about dreams, about plans, even if those plans are small, like trips, holidays, or where you'll be next year. Love naturally looks forward. But if you look back at your story, maybe you noticed something different. Every time you tried to bring up marriage, moving in together, or even something as simple as planning months ahead, she found a way to push it aside. She was happy to enjoy your time, your money, your attention, but she was never willing to invest in a shared future. That's not love. That's temporary comfort. Let me share a story you might recognize. A man once told me about his relationship of 3 years. He was ready to settle down, ready to build a life. But every time he mentioned marriage or long-term commitment, his girlfriend would laugh it off and say things like, "We're too young to think about that," or "Why ruin a good thing with pressure?" But here's the twist. While she avoided the future with him, she was planning it with someone else behind his back. Within 6 months of their breakup, she was engaged. The truth was clear. She never saw him as part of her future. He was only there to fill the present. And I want you to ask yourself, does that sound familiar? Did she ever include you in her long-term dreams? Did she introduce you proudly to her family, her close friends, her community? Did she ever talk about we when she spoke of the future, or was it always me? The Stoics taught, don't waste what remains of your life, worrying about what others think or promise. Instead, act with clarity and truth. If she avoided building with you, that truth is simple. She didn't see you as permanent. She saw you as temporary. And here's the painful reality most men overlook. When a woman avoids talking about the future with you, it's usually because she doesn't imagine one. She might enjoy the way you make her feel right now. She might appreciate the attention, the dinners, the comfort. But deep down, she knows you are not the man she envisions standing beside her 5 or 10 years from now. Brother, that's not partnership, that's delay. So if she avoided building a future with you, she wasn't protecting the moment. She was protecting her exit. And the day you see that truth is the day you stop waiting for a tomorrow that was never meant to come. 5. Her affection came with conditions. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you felt their happiness mattered more than your own? Maybe you found yourself thinking, if she smiles, I can handle anything. But here's the painful truth. Sometimes, the affection you receive in return isn't love at all. It's a transaction. Picture this. You're walking hand in hand with her and suddenly she pulls away. Her warmth, her laughter, her sweetness, all of it disappears in an instant. And when you ask what's wrong, her answer isn't clear. Instead, she says something like, well, if you really cared about me, you'd do this for me. Or maybe, I just don't feel appreciated when you don't. And so you try harder. You start bending over backward, adjusting your own life, just to earn back the affection that should have been freely given. This is where many men get trapped. Affection becomes a currency. It's not about love, it's about leverage. She hugs you only after you've bought her something. She texts you, I love you, only after you've apologized for something you didn't even do. She gives you her time and attention only when it serves her needs. And when it doesn't, she withdraws, leaving you confused, restless, and desperate to earn her approval again. Does this sound familiar? Be honest with yourself. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like her love was slipping through your fingers unless you performed the way she wanted? If so, then what you experienced wasn't unconditional love. It was conditional affection. And conditional affection is one of the clearest signs she was using you. Now, why does this hurt so much? Because as men, when we care for someone, we're willing to give everything. Our time, our money, our effort, our very soul. But when you realize she never truly loved you, only what you could provide, it feels like betrayal. It feels like you were never enough unless you were giving more. Here's where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, when you are kissed, never say you love the one who kisses you, but that you love the act of being kissed. What did he mean? He was warning us not to confuse gestures with truth. A kiss can be sweet, but if it is given only as a reward for obedience, it's not real love, it's manipulation. Love in its purest form does not demand payment. It does not keep score. Real love embraces you for who you are, not for what you can provide. If her affection came with conditions, if her warmth vanished the moment you stopped bending, then she wasn't loving you, she was using you. So let me ask you, think back to your own love story. Did you ever feel like you had to earn her love? Like a child trying to win a parent's approval? Did her affection ever feel like a prize dangled in front of you, just out of reach? If your answer is yes, then deep down you already know the truth. And here's the hard but liberating part. Once you see it for what it is, you can finally stop chasing what was never real. You can stop mistaking conditional affection for love. And when you stop, you free yourself to receive something greater. Love that doesn't demand, love that doesn't manipulate, love that simply is. Because the moment you realize that real love doesn't come with strings attached, you'll never allow yourself to be used again. 6. You felt drained, not fulfilled. When you were with her, did you feel alive, energized, and inspired? Or did you constantly feel like your soul was being chipped away? Slowly, silently, piece by piece, because love, real love, should build you up. But when someone is using you, their presence becomes like a heavy chain, dragging you down into exhaustion, confusion, and emptiness. Think back. Do you remember those late nights when you lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, questioning yourself, wondering why you were giving so much yet receiving so little? Maybe you told yourself, this is just how relationships are. I just have to try harder. But deep down you knew something was off. The laughter wasn't genuine anymore. Her words lacked warmth, and every moment with her felt more like a test. You couldn't pass rather than a connection. You could cherish. A woman who truly loves you brings peace, not chaos. She fills your heart with calm, not anxiety. Yet when she was using you, her energy drained you. Instead of feeling fulfilled after seeing her, you felt depleted. Like you had just run a marathon carrying someone else on your back. Maybe she made every conversation about herself. Maybe she expected you to fix her problems, to carry her burdens while she barely noticed yours. Maybe she demanded your time, your money, your effort, without ever offering the simplest thing back. Kindness, care, or gratitude. Do you remember those moments where you thought, why am I so tired? Why does being with the person I love feel like work? That, my friend, is the clearest sign of being used. Because love doesn't empty you, it fills you. Marcus Aurelius once said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And I'll add this, your thoughts are shaped by the people you allow into your life. If she leaves you feeling drained, your mind will always carry that storm, even when she isn't around. Now pause for a second. Think about your happiest memories of love. Maybe it was holding hands in silence, and yet feeling more connected than words could ever describe. Maybe it was laughing at something silly together until your stomach hurt. Or maybe it was just knowing someone was there for you, no matter how dark the world felt. Compare that feeling with the exhaustion she left you in. Do you see the difference? Love should never strip you of your energy, your joy, or your peace of mind. If you felt more tired than alive, more empty than complete, then she wasn't loving you, she was using you. And here's the truth. The energy you wasted on someone who drained you, you can now invest in someone who lifts you, someone who makes you feel like the best version of yourself. Because you deserve a love that doesn't exhaust you but revives you. Closing reflections. Now that you've seen these 6 signs, take a breath and ask yourself, have you seen them in your past? Or maybe even right now? The Stoic path is about clarity. It's about facing uncomfortable truths so we can live free, not chained by illusion. If she used you, it doesn't mean you were weak. It means you had a heart that gave. The tragedy isn't in being used, it's in refusing to learn from it. The moment you open your eyes, the chains break. So remember, don't mistake need for love. Don't carry debts that aren't yours. Don't stay in futures that never come. Don't accept affection that is for sale. And above all, don't ignore how you feel. Protect your energy. Protect your soul. Because once you do, you'll never be fooled again. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.